Alright, I've been getting a lot of this AfroSpam about this black samurai, so I figured I'd do a little bit of research on it. So, here we go. Yasuke is the earliest known African to appear in Japanese historical records. Though few records exist, much of what is known about Yasuke appears in fragmentary amounts in the letters of the Jesuit missionaries. His confirmed stay in Japan was about 3 years, from 17th of August 1579 to 21st June 1582. The name Yasuke was given to him by no Bunija. His real name, date, and place of birth, native language, and religion are unknown. Based on Ota Ginichi's biography of no Bunija. Also, quick FYI, if I'm pronouncing the names wrong, apologies. I'm not good at pronouncing names. Alrighty, continuing. Yasuke was estimated to be in his mid-20s in 1581. Accounts from this time suggest Yasuke accompanied Alessandro Valgagnona from the Indies, a term encompassing Portuguese overseas territories like Goa and Kuchin, modern-day Goa and Kachi in India. Scholar Thomas Lockley has also proposed that Yasuke might have originated from the Dinka people of what is now South Sudan. And how was I able to pronounce the Dinka? As soon as I read the word Dinka, I immediately thought of that Salmonella Academy episode where you had the South Sudan Civil War and you had the president who's a Dinka and the VP who's a Newer, and that's how I was able to pronounce it. Anyway, back to the Wicca. Yasuke had African roots, and both a 1561 letter by Jesuit Lorenco, probably said that wrong, and a letter account from 1627 by Francis refers to Yasuke as a Caffrey. He further described Yasuke as a more Caffrey, which has been interpreted as Moorish infidel, and identified him as a servant from Mozambique. Due to these descriptions, historians have suggested that Yasuke may have been Muslim. So we got a bit of where he came from, so let's do his life in Japan. So Yasuke arrived in Japan in 1579 in the service of the Italian Jesuit missionary Alessandro. Probably can't pronounce his last name right. Alessandro had been appointed the visitor inspector of the Jesuit missions in the Indies, which at the time meant East Africa, South, Southeast, and East Asia. Valentino's party spent the first 2 years of their stay in Japan, mainly in Kyushu. Entering 5081 rolls around and Valentino decided to visit the capital Kyoto as an envoy. He wanted to have an audience with Oda Nobunaga, the most powerful man in Japan, to ensure the Jesuit missionaries' work before leaving Japan. Valentino, together with Louis Forrest, probably said that name wrong, had an audience with Nobunaga, and Yasuke is said to have accompanied them as an attendant. The Jesuit Louis Forrest wrote that while in the capital, a melee broke out among the local townsfolk who fought amongst themselves to catch a glimpse of Yasuke, breaking down the door of a Jesuit residence in the process. Reminds me of how people crowd around celebrities, which is why celebrities have to hire bodyguards to handle the crowds so they don't get bum rushed. Anyway, continuing with the article. Said incident caused numerous deaths and injuries. Oh wow, Nobunaga had also longed to see this black man and summoned him. Orakatino took Yasuke to Nobunaga, who, upon seeing a black man for the first time, refused to believe that his skin color was natural and not applied later, and made him remove his clothes from the belt upwards. Valentino describes how Nobunaga thought that he might have ink on his body and made him take off his clothes and wash his body. But the more he washed and scrubbed, the darker the skin became. Ah, damn. Nobunaga's children attended the event, and one of his nephews gave Yasuke a sum of money. So, yeah, that's kind of dodgy, but, okay. Nobunaga was so impressed by Yasuke and asked Valentino to give him over. Huh, lovely. He gave him the Japanese name, Yasuke, accepted him as an attendant at his side, and made him the first recorded foreigner to receive the rank of samurai. So he was only in Japan for 3 years. Now, my understanding of rank is that's something you have to work towards and you have to kind of earn. So he just gave it to him. Kind of sounds like a certain VP who was selected only because she was brown and had a vagina. Oh, holy crap. Could he be the first DEI hire? Well, how about that? Yasuke served as a kind of bodyguard to Nobunaga, who was granted the honor of being his sword bearer, and was occasionally allowed to share meals with the warlord, a privilege extended to few other vassals. So, in other words, he was just enamored with him. It was a hip new thing, a trend. Kind of like the whole trans kid stuff. You see all these people, they want to have a trans kid, so they transition their son. Or another example from antiquity would be the Potsdam Giants. The Potsdam Giants was a name given to Prussian Infantry Regiment No. 6. King Frederick Wilhelm I of Germany had big military plans after ascending the throne in 1713. He set out for the next 20 years expanding his military, army, etc. However, he also had a strange obsession with tall men and went as far as to create a regiment of tall men called the Potsdam Giants. Now, if memory serves me correct, these Potsdam Giants didn't actually fight. They were all dressed up, made to look taller, and if that doesn't sound so bad, just a reminder, some people were abducted because they were just tall. Other people were given as gifts to the king because they were tall. Because the king had an obsession with tall people. That's what this Yasuke person sounds like to me. A fad, a novelty of a warlord, etc. Anywho, back to the article. It was ordered that the young black man be given a stipend, named Yasuke, and provided with a sword, and a private residence. At times, he was also entrusted with carrying the master's weapons. The black man understood a little Japanese, and Nobunaga never tired of talking with him. He probably never tired of talking about him either. Kinda sounds like all the AfroSpam I get on my Facebook chat telling me how great she is. Anywho, Nobunaga took great pleasure in protecting him. Wait, I thought Yasuke was his bodyguard. Anyway, moving on. And had him roam around the city. Yeah, showing him off. Of Kyoto with an attendant. Some people in the town thought that Nobunaga might make him a lord. Yasuke next appears in historical records on the 11th of May, 1582, where he's next mentioned. Yasuke accompanied Nobunaga on his inspection tour of the region after he destroyed his longtime arch-nemesis, the Takeda clan of Kie. Hanao Jai incident. On the 21st June 1582, Oda Nobunaga was betrayed and attacked by his senior vassal, Achichi Mitsuhide, in the Hanon incident, where Yasuke was serving near Nobunaga at this time. Nobunaga would perish at Hanao Jai, though Yasuke fled to alert Nobunaga's heir. There he engaged the Achichi forces but eventually surrendered after being defeated, and Nobutada committed seppuku. Yasuke had fought for quite a long time when a vassal of Achichi approached him and said, "Do not be afraid, give me that sword." So Yasuke gave him his sword. The vassal asked Achichi what should be done with the black man, and he said, "A black slave is a... I don't think I can say that, and knows nothing, nor is he Japanese, so do not kill him, and place him in the custody at the Cathedral of Padra in India." So finishing up, in my opinion, this Yasuke guy was a novelty like the Potsdam Giants or, Purse Poodles. Still an interesting story, but is it worth all the spam I get on Facebook? No, that stuff ticks me off. Anyway, take care out there in Clown World.